going to see if, well, before I start sharing, is there anything in particular anybody wants me to answer before we get started? Before I go through what's in the folder for this week? Most of the emails that I got this evening between 5 and 7, I've answered. In fact, if you sent me notifications that you wanted me to rescore something, I've taken care of that. I've already done it. If you go into Blackboard, you'll see that I've already revised your score. So there's only one issue that is still, I'm looking to see. Yeah, I don't see that there's any outstanding emails. So if you sent me something to review between 5 and 7, I've done it. Okay. One thing that Melanie pointed out, and I sent her an email on it, but I'm going to mention it to you all. There's no way right now in Blackboard to distinguish between required points and optional points. So if you look at your score is going to reflect how many points you've earned right now out of 185 points. But remember, 10 of the possible 185 points that you could achieve at up to this date, 10 of those points were extra credit points, right? And so just know that I'm aware that there's a 10-point buffer in there, and when we get to the end of the term, I will be calculating your grade based on 10 points less than the grand total that it says were possible, right? And that way, that 10 optional, the 10 points optional will move with you all the way through to the end, but it won't actually count for you until the very end. And I won't use, the grand total will just, possible points will be 10 less than it actually says. So if you have 185 points at, or if you have, let's say it's 600 points at the end, and if you, but it says 610 because it still thinks that the optional 10 points are part of the count. I'm going to calculate the grades based on 600, but if you have 610 points, you're going to have 610 divided by 600 to get your grade, right? Does that make sense? Yes? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I know it's there, and just be aware that I will take care of it at the end. Okay? I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I can't think of anything else. Oh, just with the Goodreads, if you are, I sent an email out to, if you are making revisions to your Goodreads account or to your Goodreads assignment, the way that the original course shell was set up does not allow me to allow you to do multiple submissions for that particular assignment. It's locked and I can't do it. So that's why I sent you the email saying if you made revisions to your Goodreads assignment to get an increase in grades, that's Corinne. So we'll send Corinne an invitation. There we go. So you just have to send me an email telling me you've updated your Goodreads page, and I'll go in and check to make sure that the things you were trying to achieve to get additional points are visible, and then I'll update. I can update your grade, I just can't give you another space to do a second submission. And that probably doesn't make any sense, but that's the way it is. Okay? So I'm trying to think if there's anything else that anybody has asked me. Hi, Corinne. You didn't need me to email the link. I just
Sorry,
needed. No, it's okay.
Giving me some trouble today.
Yeah, it's not a problem. In fact, if you do all try to start your own, it just lets me know to send you a notification. So last week it was Heidi that was having problems, and we got it worked out, but it was about 9 o'clock at night when we finally got it figured out. Okay, so let's go to the week 4 folder. So I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go in here. Okay, so let's go from the to-do list. Okay. So you had a couple of Evernote resources this week. Nancy posed a very interesting prompt for you, gave you something to really consider in the discussion area. I did notice that everybody had made their first response. I haven't had a chance to read them yet because I was scoring other assignments, but I'll probably take a look at them tonight. And of course, your second and third response is due by Sunday. Let's see, the ISTE classroom observation tool. I'm going to switch back. This is what it looks like in case you haven't taken a look at it yet. Hopefully you have. There are 3 tabs across the bottom: observation, data storage, and definitions. And the main reason I show you that is because you're really only concerned with the tab that says observation. You are not required to store the data in this form, and if you do want to, I mean, the definition tab is just there to help you understand what is meant by the different labels on the document. So of course you can use it, but you do not need to store the data. You do need to save your file as an Excel file so you can upload it to Blackboard so that I can open it and take a look at the data that you've collected. Okay? Some of you may find some challenges opening the tool. You should be able to just click on it and get to the Dropbox page. And it should open for you in this manner, and then you should be able to go over here and save it. You can open it as a Microsoft Excel and save it, or you can view it online with Microsoft Excel Online. But for your purposes, you're probably going to want to open it as Microsoft Excel so that you can save it and enter data in it. Okay, and I'm pretty sure that I'm not on the screen looking at your comments right now, but I'm going to go back there in a second. So this is the instruction tool, and it really has limited use for you this time because it is pretty involved, and it's asking, this is giving you directions for doing a lot of things that you're not required to do in this assignment. But it is helpful to go through here and, like, how do you actually use the data file? How do you actually enter in it? But remember, you don't have to store the data. You just have to click on Save when you actually enter the data. And I'll give you a chance in a minute to describe any kinds of issues you're having, and we'll try and problem solve them together. there's some information in here on the nets and you know, helping you to analyze the data that you're collecting. But a lot of this, I'm going to switch out of this and go back to this document. A lot of what's in the observation tool assumes that you're making multiple observations, because that was what the intent of this tool was for people to go in and observe dozens, if not hundreds, of teachers and then analyze the data they were coming up with. And that's not the intent of this assignment for you. But if you do get stuck using the tool, this instruction booklet or document will be helpful for you just to figure out how to enter data and how to read it later on. Okay? So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute so I can go back to the screen and see if anybody has posted any questions. Any questions?
Yeah, I have one. When I was gonna fill out the last part of the observation form, I'm having some trouble with that, with the how to enter the time. The bottom, you know which part I'm talking about?
Okay, so I'm getting a lot of feedback from you, Sergio. I think you're saying you're having problems trying to figure out how to enter the time.
Yeah, the last part of the observation at the bottom.
So you don't have to enter the time. What you have to do is click on Stop Observation. Did you try that?
Well, not right now because I was filling it out as an Excel word. It was not a live document.
Yeah. So when you do the observation, you will, let me go back to the form real quickly and hopefully click quickly. So you have these buttons right here, Start Observation Period and End Observation Period. When you click on those buttons, it's automatically going to populate the time for you. Okay, unless I'm misunderstanding your question. Anything else? Corinne, you were having some issues accessing the Excel sheet off of the Dropbox.
Yeah, it just was opening all distorted, and it kept asking me to if I wanted to replace the memos, and it might be my Excel is out of date or something.
Oh, that could be.
But I mean, it's like updated, but like I haven't bought the newest version.
Yeah.
So that's why I converted it to a Google Sheet.
Okay, so why don't you, just in case anybody, I haven't heard from anybody else having a problem, and already 3 people have already turned in this assignment. So is anybody else having a problem opening the observation spreadsheet? If you are, we'll ask Corinne to go through the process she went through for you. No?
I don't have a problem with the Excel, but I'm just wondering, can I leave any of the categories as no entry, or do I have to? Can I? Okay.
You can. Actually, that's a really good question, and probably one that I should have said something about in the directions. If you're not observing something, you can't mark it, right? I mean, if they didn't use a net, or you know, you can only observe what's there. And so there will likely be some areas that don't get filled out. And it's not, I don't want you to freak out so much about the tool. Think more about the reflection, okay? So let me go back to, let want to go back to this share here, just one second. There we go. Let's see, observation tool, assignment description. There we go. So when you go into the, whoops, well, that's not right. We'll try it this way. So in your assignment, you'll notice that 20 points is filling in the form to the best of your ability, and then 40 points is the reflection. So, and I put some description in here for you. So what it says here in the rubric for your observation document, that this is the Excel sheet. This says, you know, and really what it should say is all elements are thoroughly completed to the best of your abilities during the observations. But you should be able to fill in the setting. You should be able to fill in the teacher role, activities. You should be able to make some notations in all of these areas. And you'll have to make notations in all of these areas in order to receive the full 20 points. Okay, then in the reflection, you are going to write using a high level of analysis about what you observed. You're going to address all the elements used or not used, and that gets to your point, maybe, because by virtue of not seeing something, you're also getting information, right? So you're looking at what you did see and what you didn't see, and then you're providing an objective review of the lesson. And by this, objective doesn't mean learning objective. In this case, objective means that you're not bringing any bias one way or the other, that you liked it or you didn't like it. You're just looking at the facts that you collected on the sheet or that you didn't collect, and you're stating, you know, your analysis of the lesson and drawing some conclusions about the lesson.
I have a question about how hard and fast are we about the 1 page?
Oh, we're not hard and fast about it at all.
Okay. I figured you wouldn't be, but I just wanted to double. I'm like, high-level analysis. I'm like, I can rattle on about this for a while.
Yeah, actually, the ones that have already been submitted, I'm pretty sure they're all at least 2 pages. You know, 1 page is fine as long as you are, you know, making some justified conclusions, and you know, it's okay. Less than 1 page is probably very unlikely that you can do a thorough job of analyzing the lesson, and more than 1 page is probably more accurate as far as what it will take to express yourself. But I don't want you to think of this as being you know, a really burdensome paper. It really is, you know, meant to be just a brief analysis, okay? But substantiated and bias-free, okay? And then you're also going to be scored on your use of professional language, meaning you're clearly communicating, your writing is in a logical sequence, you're using strong supporting evidence, smooth transitions, that it's engaging to the reader, and I've added proofread, and I would write it like 10 times here, proofread, proofread, proofread. Okay, because if you have 1 or 2 minor proofreading errors, I usually don't score you down on that, but you haven't had to do a lot of writing this particular time out, this particular course, and so when I have looked at writing this time, I've seen a lot of proofreading errors. So, you know, I just want to remind you that when you're doing professional writing, and that's what the reflection will be, to use extra care and make sure that you're, if you cite anything, that you're doing it in APA format and that you're proofreading your own work. Okay? So, any questions about that? It's pretty straightforward. I'll pause for a minute, see if there's anything. No? Okay, so let me just go back and see what else we have in the folder. We're pretty much through the to-do list. Okay, so this document right here, the ICOT form and instructions, this is where you can find the link if you don't want to read through the to-do list. The announcement, it's always good to make sure you read through the announcement that I post on Sundays, but are posted now for next week. Okay. If you look at the announcement, there's usually a little bit more there too about making sure you post everything in the right place. There's the assignment guide. Hopefully you'll look at this before you get started. I sent out a message about this in the announcement. This is something that past classes using this tool put together to give you some tips for how to use the Excel tool. Calculation cells. So you might want to take a peek at this. I'm seeing a lot of errors on this. This was put together by the spring 1 term of this course. So it may have some helpful hints for you if you haven't started using the tool yet. Then the other thing that's here are the week 5, oh, that should say week 4, video introduction slides. Okay, so those are all the resources that are in the week 4 folder. And before I move on to something else, I'm going to stop screen sharing and go back and see if there's anything else you want to talk about for week 4. No? Okay. I am going to preview week 5 and 6 with you right now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because we will have a hangout, but there are a few things you need to think about in the next few days because these assignments take some time and they're going to require some planning. So let's take a look at week 5 real quickly. And I'm just going to actually go into the week 5 folder and pull out the assignment. So breathe in and breathe out. Do not fear. This isn't good. It isn't bad. I just want to give you a little preview because some people have already found the sign-up sheet and they're signing up. And I don't want anybody to not get what they want. So week 5 is about putting together an emerging technology presentation. It's intended to be a multimedia presentation, and it's an individual, not a group project. And you have 2 weeks to, well, you have 1 day short of 2 weeks. I'm actually telling you about it now, so you have lots of time, to do it, but it's going to be due by 11:59 p.m. on Saturday, June 18th, which is a couple weeks away. Okay, so it says to post your presentation in this Google spreadsheet, and what I'm going to do now is take you to the spreadsheet. It's over here. It's this greenish looking document, the assignment sign-up sheet it's called. So you get to choose a topic that is of interest to you and relates to emerging technologies. And I've made a list of several here in this topic category. You don't have to use my categories. You don't have to use any of my topics. But I'm letting you know that these are some samples. Google Classroom, self-driving cars, augmented reality, technology with neuroscience or fashion, sustainable alternative energies. Somebody's in there getting ready to sign up. Look at there. We've got 3 people already signed up. That's why I told you. I wanted you to know. So only 1 person per topic. So if you like Google Classroom, you need to get it soon, because once it's gone, nobody else can do it. Okay, now I have put down here other topics. So this is obviously an editable document. So if you don't like what I've put here or given you the option of, you can propose something here in one of the other topics rows. Just delete it and put your own topic in. But please check with me first before you decide a topic. Okay, so you're going to, here's who's in the course. And so there should be 1 name beside 12 topics, and there's way more than 12 topics here. You're going to eventually post your link to your final presentation here. And the reason you're doing that is because in week 7, your assignment is to evaluate a couple presentations done by your colleagues. Okay? So your week 5 assignment is to actually research the topic and develop the presentation. Post the link in this column, and also you're going to post the link to the assignment area of week 5 in Blackboard. That's so that I have something to grade. Okay, I see topics going like hotcakes now. So anyway, you have any format. You can do a podcast, you can do a video, a screencast, a PowerPoint, a Powtoon. You can do any kind of multimedia presentation you want. And I'm just going to post, I'm going to remove this in just a second. I'm just putting text in here so you can see it. I found this really cool tool today, and I was playing around with it. Has anybody played around with Zaption before? It's very, very cool. It allows you to upload video and use video in your presentation, somebody else's video, but you can do a caption screen, not a caption screen, a caption stream side by side with the videos as they're going, so that you can put your own comments in about what people are hearing. And it also allows you to start and stop video and do interactive questions and polls with your audience. So, I mean, if anybody out there wants to try something new and cool that you will definitely be able to use in your classroom, take a video tour of Zaption. I think you'll really be impressed. Okay? I am going to stop sharing. That doesn't mean you have to get out of this document. It just means I'm going to stop sharing. You can keep in the document if you want. Anybody else know about Zaption? Z-A-P, like caption, but with a Z? You need to check it out. I'm serious. You will really, really, really like it. Okay. So that was week 5. Why do I want you to be concerned about week 6? Because week 6 is the week you are supposed to take a field study to a makerspace or to a STEM center. And you're probably going to need to figure out where you're going to go, what you're going to look at now, because once it gets here, some of the spaces might be closed because of summer. You just need, and I know some of you, in fact, several of you have already visited. You knew that you weren't going to be able to get into a particular space, and you let me know, and so you asked if you could go earlier. And that's fine. There's no rule that you can't go earlier than week 6. It's just that the reflection you have to write about what you saw and did and how it's going to affect education, that has to be turned in at the end of week 6. And so the reflection for your field study is actually due on Sunday, June 19th, right? So your multimedia presentation on the emerging technology topic you've picked is due Saturday, June 18th, and your reflection on your field study is due Sunday, June 19th. Okay? So do you kind of get an idea of why I'm letting you in on things coming up ahead of time? Okay. I'm just reading comments off the side here. Cherie did a presentation of Zaption in our last class. Great. If you all are having problems, check her out and find out more. I thought Zaption was pretty cool. And I'm a big MoveNote user until this week. Anybody else use MoveNote? Anybody find out what happened to MoveNote this week? It's not free anymore. $24.99 a year. So I'm wrestling with myself about whether or not I'm going to pay it. I'm annoyed that it's not free anymore. Okay. So we plan to go to Hot Butter Delves? Hot Buttered Elves? Hot Buttered Elves. Okay. I don't know that one. That's not on my maker list. I just want to remind, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be on my list. I just want to show you, again, for those of you that may have forgotten, I've carried it over into, let's see, I'm going to close out several of these crazy windows I have open because it's making it hard for me to find things when I'm screen sharing. So let's see if I can get where I want to go now. Okay, so in week 6's folder, you will find a copy of that document I put together for you the first week of the course, giving you suggestions for places to go visit when I first told you that this field trip was coming up. So there are places, several places in Southern California, several places in Northern California. You don't have to go to a place on the list that I provided. I'm just letting you know these are options that I know about and that have been recommended to me if I haven't seen them personally. Okay. I know that a couple of you went to the Bay Area Makers Fair last week or the week before and had a really great experience, and that if you find a Makers Fair, that's absolutely okay. You can definitely do a maker's fair if you have one available to you in the next week or two. Okay? No, we're not going as a cohort to the trip. Yes, in Southern California, where the cohorts are all close together, in the past, they've done 2 or 3 options for field trips together. We don't have that luxury because we're spread out throughout the state. So that's why I put the list together for you, and you're on your own to make the trip. Okay? Anybody have an issue? You can, if you went to the Maker Fair but not as PD, you can still use it. That's perfectly fine. I'm not, you know, this particular trip is about going someplace to learn about innovative and emerging technologies. And it doesn't have to be an actual for-profit business. It doesn't have to be a school maker space. It can be a maker fair. It's not a problem. Okay? So Nancy, it looks like you have some colleagues reaching out to you down there. Anyway, I wanted you to be thinking about that now. It's 2 weeks off, but give it some thought and see what you can come up with. And if you're still having problems, let me know, and we'll put our heads together. Okay? Really, I just want, this particular trip is going to be as meaningful as you make it, because I'm not going to be there with you. I can't force you to see anything. I can't force you to go anywhere. You know, if you do a virtual tour somewhere, that may be fine, but really this is going to be in a particular, this field study assignment is really going to be as valuable for you as you make it. So try and get somewhere and learn something new. Take your 3D file with you or upload it to the cloud or put it on a thumb drive. If you happen to go to a place that has a 3D printer, really try and figure out what's going on out there in the maker world, in the STEM world, and when you write your reflection, put some real thought into how it's going to make a difference for not only kids and how they're going to be educated, but innovation in our world in general. Today, Nancy sent me a couple of images of things her nephew, was it your nephew, Nancy? A friend, your nephew's friend or somebody's friend, young man in high school who has a maker space available to him, and she was sending me pictures of what he had been creating recently, and it's pretty amazing. It's really pretty amazing. What I don't know that I could have done anything like this at their age, and it just is kind of astounding to me. Okay, so let's see. I'm not going to go through any of the documents now, but I did tell you that the assignment in week 7 is going to be to write some reviews of your course colleagues' multimedia presentations on emerging technologies, okay? And then your week 8 assignment is going to be to write a review of the emerging technology book you're reading. Right? So that's what's left. And it is doable, but you are going to have to really, particularly if you have a lot of upcoming events in your life, you're going to have to take a look at that calendar and try and, schedule your time so that you can get to it all. Okay, any other questions tonight? before I turn off the recording? Okay, I'm going to stop the recording. That doesn't mean that you have to jump off. I'm just going to stop the recording. So.